What La Rochefoucauld is saying is something said by many people who have commented on human nature, which is that people take pleasure in the suffering of others, that they even are capable of enjoying the sufferings of others. I don't quote La Rochefoucauld in my book, my new book, but I do quote Edmund Burke, a wonderful 18th century British thinker, a little later than La Rochefoucauld. And he says there's nothing that gives greater pleasure than sufferings of others. So it's a sad, sharp, pessimistic remark that has been made about human nature by many deep thinkers. I don't feel that's all there is to say on the subject, but I think it would be naive to say that we are only shocked. I think that sometimes we do even enjoy the sufferings of others. There is something sadistic in human nature. There is something cruel in human nature. But it's complicated because my view is we have many reactions. And part of the project of the book is to try to understand the different reactions that people have to the sufferings of others, and also to raise the question, how much can we know about the sufferings of others if we only know through images? You see, that the basic axis of the book, the basic distinction in the book, is between reality and the representation of reality, particularly representation in images. You know, this is not like the book I wrote years ago about photography. Even though there's a lot in the book about photography, it's the point of departure, the starting point for the book is not what is an image. The starting point is what is reality. How much do we know about a reality that we don't directly experience, that we only know through images? And the reality that I start from is the reality of war. Because I think that a good life includes, now and then, as often as you can, stepping out of your own life and your own concerns and doing something for other people. I think that a life that is just a selfish life isn't a very good life. So from time to time, I choose to step out of my own life to do something else that I think is useful. It's often an accident what you choose to do. I mean, you don't really have to go to a war. You could be, maybe decide that you are going to work one day a week here in Barcelona in a shelter for battered women. And that's what you do. You don't have to go to another place or necessarily a dangerous place, but I think that a life, a human life, an individual life that doesn't include an altruistic element, something that you do for other people, not for yourself, where you forget about yourself. I think every life should have some part, either once a week or every few years for a certain period, or every 10 years, or whatever you choose, to do something that is for other people. That's a very good question. I mean, this book, I would not have written this book if I hadn't been in Sarajevo. I mean, every book I write of a nonfiction kind comes out of a real personal experience. If I hadn't had this experience there, this long, long experience of war, 3 years, I would not have written this book. But I don't describe my own experience except just a couple of small anecdotes. I'm actually very slow. It takes a long time for me to digest. The great Spanish writer Juan Goytisolo came to Sarajevo on my invitation. You may, if you see his book on Sarajevo, you will see it's dedicated to me. And it's because I persuaded him to come to Sarajevo. I asked a lot of writer friends, I said, that I knew in Europe and the United States, I said, please come to Sarajevo. It can be arranged. It's incredibly dangerous. It's incredibly uncomfortable, but you should really see this. I asked Günter Grass. I asked, well, a whole list of writers. Everyone said no, except one Goethe solo. He said, okay, I will come. And then he arranged through El País, and he managed a way to get in, and it was difficult. He was there the first time 1 week, and he wrote a book of his experiences. Well, he wrote 7 articles, you know, 1 each day, my day in Sarajevo, and then it came out as a book. I don't want to criticize this way of writing, but for me it's utterly impossible. I could take 10 years, and obviously I have already before I can write about it, because I don't think of myself as writing in that way, although I think it's very, very useful if you can do it. So the answer is yes, I do want to write something in the form of fiction about Sarajevo, about the siege. So far what I have mainly thought of, and I have some ideas, is a play rather than a novel.